שאלו אותנו, ודאי גם אתם שאלתם את עצמכם, איך אם כך מצביעים על החוק בכללותו בקריאה השלישית לאחר שהוסרו כל ההסתייגויות. הצבעה כעת. ושניים בעד, 10 נגד. אני קובע כי הצעת החוק התקבלה בקריאה השלישית ותיכנס לספר החוקים.
UNRWA is an organization that a terrorist organization has completely taken over it. What we've seen in Gaza is how Hamas has taken over United Nations facility, schools, hospital clinics, and headquarters in order to use them as military bases to hide ammunition, to hide rockets, to actually commit terror activities from the United Nations facilities. This legislation is disconnecting the relationship between Israel and between this organization. They will not be able to facilitate their activities or their infrastructures or their headquarters in Israel. If the United Nations is not willing to clean this organization from terrorism, from Hamas activists, then we have to take measures to make sure that they cannot harm our people ever again. To vote for it, I personally worked on it for the last 6 years, and I'm very proud of this legislation. Well, they had a whole year to try and prevent something like that from happening. They could have cleaned UNRWA. The international community could have taken responsibility and make sure that they use the proper organization to facilitate humanitarian aid, like the World Food Organization, like UNICEF, and many other who works all around the world. Instead of that, they have continued to make sure that UNRWA is not compromised.
Because I can promise the international community there will not be a vacuum. Israel takes care of its population and everybody who lives in Israel. Therefore, when it comes to water, services will be given. When it comes to health, services will be given, even better services. And when it comes to education, maybe it's about time that the kids in Jerusalem, those who use the services of UNRWA, won't have books where you praise terrorism. If you really want stability, if you really want security, if you want really peace in the Middle East, organizations like UNRWA won't bring you there.
يلا عمو معه وقت هون احط لك معه يا اختي ايوه خليكي جنب كرتونتي
رعلمت الملك الاجتماعية تحديدا التربية afternoon, everyone. It doesn't feel as cold in here today as usual.
That be able to work in Israel and in East Jerusalem. What are your thoughts on that?
So we have made quite clear to the government of Israel that we are deeply concerned by this proposed legislation. The Secretary raised this in the letter that he sent with Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Defense to Minister of Defense Gallant and Minister of Strategic Affairs Dermer a little over 2 weeks ago. As he made clear in that letter, passage of this legislation could have implications under U.S. law and U.S. policy. That remains the case. Look, UNRWA plays a critical, important role in delivering humanitarian assistance to civilians that need it in Gaza. That's not the only role they play. They play an important role providing services to Palestinians in the West Bank and throughout the region as well. But they really play an irreplaceable role right now in Gaza, where they are on the front lines getting humanitarian assistance to the people they need it. There's nobody that can replace them right now in the middle of the crisis. So we continue to urge the government of Israel to pause the implementation of this legislation. We urge them not to pass it at all. And we will consider next steps based on what happens in the days ahead.
Against Israel, and also Iraq lodged a complaint. Do you think it's a valid complaint?
The nightmare in Gaza is now entering an atrocious, abominable second year. A record number, including so many members of our UN family, have paid with their lives. The vast majority of those killed were part of the backbone of humanitarian relief operations in Gaza, UNRWA. In the midst of all the upheaval, UNRWA, more than ever, is indispensable. UNRWA, more than ever, is irreplaceable. That is why I've written directly to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to express profound concern about draft legislation that could prevent UNRWA from continuing its essential work in the occupied Palestinian territory. Such a measure would suffocate efforts to ease human suffering and tensions in Gaza and indeed the entire occupied Palestinian territory. It would be a catastrophe in what is already an unmitigated disaster.